Family Association's Noonday Get-Together, where we look at the world through a biblical worldview. AFA Today.
And it's Kevin McCullough with you from the New York studios today. Glad that you're with us. I'm keeping my eye on all things related to the news, at least as many of them as I can. There is some updated information in the Kermit Gosnell trial. I'll update you on that in a little bit. And if you haven't been over to onenewsnow.com or instantanalysis.com, you need to get over there and take a look at it, because there's a number of headlines today that I think are quite important, and they're doing just a great job of tracking them down for us. So we've got a lot, but you also want to weigh in on it, and that's the beautiful thing about AFA Today. It's not only the news of what's happening today as it affects the American families, but it's also your opportunity to speak out about them. And we were talking about the IRS, which turns out, shock to everybody, I guess, even the president, that they were targeting conservatives. And he found out about it first on Friday, when everybody else did, when it was reported on the news. I would have not guessed that. I would have guessed that he had found at least heard about it prior to it becoming news, because most people in the presidency do hear about things before they go public. But that's what he said. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt on it. But he also had a lot to say about Benghazi, like it's old news. I said it was terrorism the day after. By the way, both of those things aren't true. And he also said that they've done all they can to try to make sure that this type of thing doesn't happen again. But the people that did it are still out running around everywhere, and we haven't really stopped them from doing anything. So I'm just curious as to your reactions to the president kind of going brave, I think, taking a few questions on these topics today. I didn't expect him to. So I guess I give him some kudos for at least standing there and taking the questions. Let's go to line one. Clara is calling from Texas. Hi, Clara. We're glad that you're with us on AFA Today. On AFR Talk, Kevin McCullough's here. Glad to have you here.
Thank you for giving me the time to speak.
Sure.
I really appreciate programs that allow us to say our mind, but I tell you, I am so appalled at this man's behavior. He doesn't know anything. He is not to blame for anything. He doesn't ever take any responsibility. I can only express my feelings for him that if he was to walk by me right now, I would turn my back on him. That's what I would do. If Obama was to walk by me, that's how I know he doesn't speak the truth. I would not even look at him. I would turn my back on him.
All right, Claire. Thank you for letting your voice be heard. Thank you so much. Let's go to line two, Jan in Arkansas. Hi, Jan. Welcome to Monday on AFA Today with Kevin McCullough on AFR Talk. Hi.
Hi.
So your thoughts?
My thoughts? I too am appalled, but he has so many atrocities that he wants to perform against the American people in general, and specifically the Christians or the conservative groups. It doesn't surprise me at all that he has probably perpetrated this, not the Treasury, not the IRS. He has had his finger in every pie that has come against us as a group.
Don't you find it just a little bit curious, though, Jan, that the leader of the free world knows so little about almost anything?
He's crazy like a fox, as my grandma would say.
All right. We're having a little bit of fun. Thank you, Jan, for the call. I appreciate it. Yeah, he's the leader of the free world. He has every intelligence capacity at his fingertips. He probably has special telephones and things that, people call him and tell him stuff on. And yet he just, he finds out stuff the same way we do. He just turned on Fox News on Friday afternoon, and lo and behold, there was this surprise that he'd been his IRS, not he personally, I guess, but his IRS department had been, targeting all of his political opponents. And today he shared his outrage with us. He was very outraged. He said it several times. He said how outraged he was. So I guess we have to give him the benefit of the doubt on that. Let's go to line 4, Gary in Arkansas. Hi, Gary. Welcome to AFA Today. Kevin McCullough with you. Glad you're here.
glad to be here. I'll tell you what, this president, he's really a snake. I mean, when it comes to Benghazi, he starts backstroking every time, and he reminds me of sometimes if you go to one of these depositions, you know, they'll say one sentence and then they'll repeat the sentence, but they change the wording up about it, thinking that everybody's gullible and they're not going to pick up on it. Well, there again, you know, when it comes to him, he's always backstroking and all that. That's just like he goes for banning guns and what have you, but yet when it comes to Eric Holder, you know, nothing's ever said about that ever for months and months now. Nothing's been said about that, but Eric Holder actually gave guns to the drug cartel.
Oh yes, we called it Fast and Furious. In fact, it was the same committee, Mr. Ice's committee, that did the investigation in that. And yeah, somehow that just slips people's memory for some reason, that gun violence is bad, but we were giving them to drug lords and murderers and criminals that would leave our country with them and then shoot our border patrol with them. It was pretty weird. Doesn't make a lot of sense, does it?
No, it doesn't. And besides that Susan Rice, you know, I mean, here it was when that Benghazi deal was going on. The president calls her back to him, and who knows what he whispered in her ear, but still, he's commander-in-chief, and he's supposed to have a grasp on everything that's going on, you know, as far as America, as far as our armed forces, and then in our armed forces, you know, I mean, I can't think of his name right off the top of my head, but he's going to be going up there and saying, you know, oh, it's okay to have, you know, your gays run over the top of you in the military, but when it comes to giving the gospel or giving out...
Are you talking about Secretary of Defense Leon Panetta?
No. It's, oh, shoot, I can't even
Okay, well, it'll
name.
come to you later, Gary. Hey, thank you for the call. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. 888-995, I'm sorry, 888-589-8840. Please forgive me. I give out about 600 phone numbers a week, and I get them confused in my head sometimes. 888-589-8840, and grateful for those of you that are calling in. I just wanted to, for those of you that were just joining us midway through the show, I just wanted you to understand that this morning the president spoke, and he answered questions about how wrong it was for the IRS to be targeting specifically conservative groups. And we found out, like on Friday, they said it was just people that had Tea Party or Patriot in their ID. Well, we actually found out it went a lot further than that. And it actually happened mostly throughout the campaign of 2010 and 2011 into the 2012 elections, and it was pretty conclusive. In fact, there was a Romney opponent. I just saw this, that had been hassled, a Romney donor, I should say, not opponent, but a Romney donor, opponent to the president, that they ended up doing a couple of audits on. Not really apparently any reason to. Just thought it would be a good thing to just, hassle this man more than once. President Obama saying at a press conference today that if the reports are true, then that's outrageous. There's no place for it. They have to be held fully accountable. Now, the IRS works for this man. They're part of the executive branch. They work for the Treasury Secretary, who reports directly to the president, and it should be pretty easy to hold them fully accountable. So when will we see some accountability, Mr. President? What's your plans to do that there? If you're really outraged by it, I mean, you do have a plan in place, right? You're somebody's going to get fired, somebody's going to be suspended, someone's going to maybe go through an audit themselves, right? I mean, that's the way it would be normally thought to be being held accountable, right? I'm curious. 888-589-8840. Okay, I'm also going to get to, before we're done today, well, let me just roll this in there. This is over the Associated Press this morning, and Breitbart.com has it on their site, but I believe there will be other stories coming about this shortly. But jurors, we're into the whateverth day, 10th day or more of the Kermit Gosnell jury that they had the case. The defense rested. They've had the case. They appear to be hung up on 2 of the more than 200 counts in the case. There's more than 200 counts in the case because they found about that many babies in his clinic with snip marks at the base of their brainstem. So there were a lot of unjust and late term abortions that were carried out in his clinic. But the jury has asked for more information, and they say they are divided on 2 of the more 200 counts. Now, he's on trial. This is just what he's on trial for. Killing of a patient, that's one woman, 4 babies born alive, and then having their brain stems snipped with the scissors in the back of the head. But then also racketeering, conspiracy, hundreds of counts of performing illegal third trimester abortions, and failing to counsel women. The common pleas judge, Jeffrey Meinhardt, asked the panel to reach a unanimous verdict, but it's not clear which of the 2 counts the jurors are hung up on. They've been weighing the more than 200 counts in the case for about 10 days. Judges can eventually take a partial verdict and leave prosecutors to decide whether to retry the unresolved counts. Here's what I don't understand, and this is hard for me, to be honest with you. I don't understand why we have such a difficult time in assessing this man's guilt. See, it's real simple in Kevin McCullough's world. If you took a pair of scissors and you snipped anybody's brain stem, that should be a first-degree murder charge. And if you're in a state that has the death penalty, you should be sentenced to the death penalty for it. Because there are just some things that are right and there are just some things that are wrong. And snipping someone's brainstem, especially that of a child, is, in my book, 100% of the time always wrong. I mean, I don't care how much I dislike the person. They never have, they never earn the right to lose their right to not have their brainstem snipped. And it's a heartbreaking thing to see that these jurors are having this much trouble coming to some very clear realities. And by the way, I told some people this last week. I really do think that the Gosnell case is going to change America. I don't know if it'll do away with abortion. But the Mr. Mullane, one of the beat reporters for one of the Philadelphia outlets that has been covering the story, told Governor Huckabee on the Saturday night Fox News show last week that there's another reporter that's been there, kind of side by side, competing papers. He's very liberal. He's been very pro-choice and pro-abortion all of his life, and after hearing the evidence laid out in this trial, he's adamantly now pro-life. That's the power. And one last thing, my good friend Lila Rose at liveaction.org, it's a great website. She has done a series of films on people that do the same procedures that Kermit Gosnell did. And I know that the president wants us to think that Kermit Gosnell is really just an aberration, that it doesn't happen very often. It's just, out of the blue. It's very, actually what Lila's uncovered is that it's pretty common. It's pretty regular. And that at 26, 27, 28 weeks, these doctors are performing these procedures, and when they do, sometimes the babies live. And what Lila Rose has caught on tape and has produced in a series of films called Inhuman, and you can view them at liveaction.org, is a series of doctors that have said, well, even if the child is on the table, we won't do anything to revive it. We won't do anything to try to extend its life. I think the Kermit Gosnell case is very important, and the fact that our media has all but abdicated every ounce of responsibility that they have in telling the truth about it is really a shame. It's a black mark on our country, as is abortion in general. 888-589-8840. Let's talk to... okay, you want a break here? Okay, we'll take this break, and then we'll come back and talk to Pam, Kenneth, and Daryl, all of you, and then we have one phone line open, 888-589-8840. So, yeah, hit us up, and be right back on AFR Talk. The broadcast is AFA Today, and we're glad you're with us. Again, 888-589-8840. By the way, if you want to email me, you can drop a note to kmcradio@gmail.com. Be glad to read every single one of those that come in. Stay with us. This is AFA Today on AFR Talk.